Before we get started, a quick word from our sponsor, Community Financial's President CEO Tansley Stern podcast, Despite Impossible. Now on to the show. Studio Lounge interviews at Emerge, brought to you by Eltrapy. Hey everybody, Mike Lawson here with CU Broadcast. Welcome back to our continued coverage of the 2025 Eltrapy Emerge conference here in beautiful San Francisco, California. We are in the Intercontinental Hotel, I guess.
Yeah,
and it's
world
renowned, I hear. So yeah, and it's a nice place too. But anywho, we are here with two fine gentlemen. We have Gautam. Ajjarapu.
Yes, perfect.
From Glide. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Mike.
Good.
How's it going?
I'm going to have to cut that little part out, but we'll be fine.
Okay,
How are you, man?
I'm doing very, very well. Thanks for having me.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. We see each other a lot,
Sometimes.
but it's been a while where we've been back on the show. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Good. And then the gentleman down there on the very end, down there, you might recognize him, Mr. Kyle Stutzman from Janusea, right here. He brought us this fine book. Lots of good reading in here. Yeah, a lot of good reading here. So this is going to be on the flight home. So anyway, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Good.
It's fun to be out here.
Yeah, it is. This is a good. Eltrapy puts on a really good show. I mean, the panels this morning, there were like 4 or 5 of them, or all day. Just, oh my gosh, good stuff. Because it's coming from the credit unions that they're helping out. So it's really good to get that peer-related information up front. So yeah. So what's new in the Glide world, sir?
We're still
catch up.
We're still chugging along.
Good.
So as a quick refresher, Glide is a 2-minute account opening product, and so we can help a person who has no relationship with the credit union establish a relationship and get all of its kind of primary accounts, get that account funded, establish the relationship, all in under 2 minutes, and it can be done completely from the member's phone. And then now we're actually launching some products on the loan origination side as well. So very soon people will be able to not only apply for memberships and deposit accounts, but also auto loans, personal loans, and credit cards all through the platform as well.
Sure, I've got it covered, sir.
Yeah.
Were you here this morning when Filene's Mark Meyer said, if you're not onboarding somebody within 5 minutes, you're out the window?
Yeah, it was pretty incredible.
You're cutting it out.
It was pretty incredible because I think every person on that panel said under 5 minutes or less. So I was like, yes, this is...
according to you, it's 2 minutes. Yeah. So you got them beat by 3 minutes, sir. Good job on that.
we got some buffer room.
You definitely. You're doing a great job there at Glide. And give us an update on Janusea real quick, Kyle.
We're still helping credit unions and partners across the industry get connected and doing innovative solutions. They talk here about everything's about communication and relationships. We think it's all about connections. That's why we're both here. That's why we're working with together 14 different financial institutions, and that's growing every quarter. And we're here with Eltrapy because we're growing with Eltrapy too. And so it's about this interconnected and people helping each other. It's really important, and we see the more connections we have, the more that everyone benefits in our industry.
Now I know why you guys are here.
Yeah.
Now I know.
We should have told you earlier.
It was just a minute. It's like, let's just sit down and talk, which I'm fine with. But now, so it sounds like Glide and Janusea are partnering up. And so how are the two organizations working together to benefit credit unions? Kyle, I'll let you go first.
How does it work? How does it work?
Yeah, how's this partnership work?
Glide has been a great partner because they took a risk on us early on. They were a young company, we were a young company, and we said, well, here's what we're trying to do in the industry. And for us, it was how do we get people connected? How do we make sure that a credit union can go find a solution that can open up an account in 90 seconds or in 2 minutes and get what they need in those relationships established? But that's what we're trying to help, and they were needing to get to the industry. And we're like, well, we have a path to get there. If you take a bet on us and we take a bet on you, we think we can do this together. And it's only continued to grow.
And look where you guys are today. You want to give us your perspective, Gautam?
Yeah, I think one thing I'll highlight, we tend to talk a lot about member experience and digital experience from the perspective of the members. I think one thing that goes overlooked a lot is the credit union staff member experience, right? If I'm a staff member opening an account at a credit union for a member, and it takes me an hour to do it, which is usually the case, especially in the in-branch process, right? That's an hour you lose of talking to the member, getting to understand their needs and recommending relevant financial products. And so I think why this kind of partnership has been great is a lot of that manual work is related to moving the data from the account opening system or the loan origination system into the core in a way that's kind of like seamless and automatic. And currently, that's a largely manual process. Credit union staff members are actually kind of copy-pasting data from one system to the other. And with platforms like Janusea, we're able to do all that in real time and allow the staff members to actually just take their hands off the wheel and just let it all happen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So time savings, more efficient, all they buzzwords.
Exactly.
We're talking about here?
Yeah, we think
more
about
accurate,
it. Exactly.
Right? More accurate.
Yeah,
The
'cause there's no
members
manual
actually able to
mistakes.
start working. They were doing debit cards early on. How do we get a debit card in members' hands quickly? And they're asking the question as the vendor, not just the credit unions asking those questions, which was really powerful. And we, to be fair, we didn't even know how deep you were going to get into branch operations. When we first were talking, I remember saying, oh, well, this is a digital solution, and this is going to be great for anyone that's on their phone or anyone that's just trying to connect at home or the weekend or after hours. Like, this is going to be amazing. And within, I don't know, a month or two, you're like, oh no, we have our credit unions using it in the branch and taking that same 90-second, and we're like, okay, well, we didn't realize that that's where you guys were headed so quickly.
Yeah.
And I think within the first, what, it was like, we asked you, I think after it was like 5 credit unions we had done together, and you're like, no, only one isn't doing it in the branch. Like, everyone sees the efficiency of how they need to do it in the branch and have that experience be the same, whether it's digital or whether it's in person.
Yeah, it's all about reallocating staff members' time, right? If you can get them off of doing all these manual chores, now these staff members, they call up the member, they send them birthday cards, they send handwritten notes to them, they run community events and business development events. So we try to think about it in terms of like unlocking time for the valuable things to do.
That's your tagline right there, unlocking time.
Yeah,
yeah.
unlocking time, yeah.
Well, and for the and we kind of jest about that, but it's so important to bond, because all these things that we're talking about are just the mundane, manual tasks that can be totally automated, and then it allows the member service representative or whomever at the credit union to spend more time with the member on more important items rather than what's my balance type of stuff. So it sounds like this is where you guys are headed, or if you're not there already.
Yeah, I think what fintechs are trying to do today is AI, right? Leveraging AI to make their staff members kind of have an easier time.
Yeah.
And a lot of the credit unions are not even quite ready for that step yet. We think the kind of intermediary step in the middle is first, let's automate all of your workflows using just API integrations like what Janusea has built out and platform level plays. And then I think me and you will probably agree that the next step after this is leveraging some kind of AI type models to make it even faster. But we want to do kind of like, step 1 before step 2 here.
So what's the next step in this?
Kyle, do you want to take a stab at this?
I mean,
is it AI?
Nice
I'm just kidding. So what's the next? What's
well,
on
if
the
you
horizon?
didn't hear it at the beginning, you take that same convenience that you know that members expect. Let's take a whole step back. Some of the first credit unions I remember you working with were related to universities.
Yeah.
So it was obvious, right? I mean, you're not going to get a student to sign up for a new account if they have to fill out pages and pages of forms and go through all that
Got
process.
that right.
So that made sense. But it wasn't, I don't know, it was beyond the first 1 or 2, and all of a sudden it's not just those credit unions, it's every credit union, because nobody wants to fill that out. And then you said right at the beginning, well, the next step that's active right now is lending.
Yeah.
Well, why do I want to fill out a long mortgage, a long consumer, a long auto loan document? If it can be pulled and done for me in an automated way, why would you not do that? So we see that across kind of the lending platforms. How do we find ways to do convenience? How do we find ways to have integration? How do we take things that are taking weeks or months and turn them into minutes? So I hear that's an area you're going. But yeah, beyond that, we're talking robotic automation for processes. We're talking AI. We're talking fraud, because on the lending side and on the new account opening side too, fraud's a big issue. And so the better you can do to catch those things, the more efficient and the less losses people have as they're growing.
Yeah, for sure.
You probably have more insight to that than I do. But
No, the only thing I would add there is I think the last piece of it is data, right? We're capturing so much alternative data, right? As we think about some of the fraud checks we're doing, we're actually looking at people's behavior as they're going through the flow. We're actually tracking how quickly they're going between the pages, and we're seeing is it fast enough to be a human but not too fast to be a robot, right? And then, also we're looking at all kinds of different personal information checks, index, and we're looking at the IP address and doing a bunch of pings there. And I think where Janusea kind of comes into the picture here, and what we're excited about is we capture all this data. Today in the credit union's existing systems, there isn't a lot of very clear and obvious places to put that data, but we do want them to have that data to some extent.
Right.
So I think your guys' systems of kind of being this data orchestration layer will allow the credit union to actually make use of all that data.
And we're trying to do it in a ways that's standard. So you want to do an implementation, and you want to make sure no matter what core they're on, that they have the same experience and the same benefits. And we want to make sure that data gets consistently across the various cores. So sometimes it's user-defined fields, and people use their cores differently. But how do we make sure they have access to that? Is a great point.
Yeah.
So now let's back up the truck here a little bit. Here. So since you guys have known each other for a while, how long has this partnership been working? Is this something brand new or something when you guys first started?
How long has it been now? It's been a while already.
Yeah, a year and a half, over a year.
Oh, wow.
Close to 2 years.
Yeah. Almost going on
I thought
2
this was brand new.
No.
Confidence doesn't make that any less important, but okay.
No, so we have...
when we say 14, it's not 14 that have said we're interested. These are 14 institutions that they've been using the solution.
Yeah.
They've gone through, I don't know how many iterations of new releases, upgraded options. I mean, this is a mature solution that people are taking advantage of right now.
Gotcha.
But it's a fintech. It's an innovative solution. So let's say mature, but it continues to evolve and grow.
Okay, next conversation. Let's bring on one of those credit unions to get their point of view. Get their
I just ran into one of them at another conference, and they just like, is Glide here? Right? We love what it's done for our members. We love the fact that we can open up accounts that our employees can do it. So I'm sure you have plenty of people that would come on. I'll step out and just pull them in. That'd be perfect.
We can plan that for another time when you guys are more, and the credit union's more prepared too. So we want to give them a little bit of grace as well. Kind of last question here. I mean, what's the big goal here? I mean, obviously, again, we do all the buzzwords: efficiency, productivity, accuracy, fraud, that type of stuff. So, but from your perspective, and actually working together for over a year now, has the goal changed, or is it still the same? Gautam?
Yeah, I think maybe this is a good answer for both of us, but I think the big thing that we're trying to solve, we talk about making the member experience better, the staff member experience better. I think a big kind of organizational goal we want to solve for banks and credit unions is drastically reducing the number of different vendors that they need, right? You hear this term in the credit union industry quite a bit called vendor hell, right? It's essentially you have too many different solutions and figuring out a way to stitch them all together is an absolute nightmare, right? And even within my space, you're seeing this, right? People purchase a deposit account vendor, people purchase an onboarding vendor, people purchase a loan application vendor, and they stitch the three of those together. Glide is one of the first players that does all three of those components under one umbrella. And so you have all these benefits, but you also can just go to a credit union executive and say, look, you don't need to run 3 RFPs, you don't need to do 3 different contracting sessions, you don't need to do 3 implementation projects, it's all done under one umbrella. And the product experiences are great, but I think where maybe I'll hand it off to Kyle is the layer underneath, right? How does that consolidated vendor actually get to all the other systems?
Yeah, I mean, you've said it well. Our interest is to make sure people have access to innovation and access to efficiency. And it's with partners like Ajjarapu at this conference, it's partners with Glide that make those things possible. We're always one step removed. We don't always get to be the sexy front end that you guys get to show members and do those things, but we take pride in being a small part of it. It helps enable that. And our good partners push us, right? They're like, we need to be able to do this. Like, to do that, you need access to this data, or you need to write new data, or we can enhance this by providing new information they don't have access to anywhere else. That's really powerful because it helps everyone in the industry.
So last question here is, how does a credit union get this rolling? Do they call you, Gautam? Do they call you, Kyle? Or call both of you? Or how do they get this rolling? Because obviously this is kind of back office-y type of stuff. This is more front. But how do they get this ball rolling for them so they can benefit? Either one of you?
Well, I'll go first to say it's a both.
Anybody.
So the first thing is, we have credit unions that work directly.
I'm trying to give them an easy path to get you guys.
We have credit unions that work directly with us. And they look at the partners we work with and they say, well, what's Glide do? And we say, well, they do new account opening in 90 seconds or 2 minutes. And they're like, what? Well, we'll go have a conversation with them. So we can start the conversation that way.
Gotcha.
But from a partnership standpoint, we have the arrangement so that you just sign up with Glide. and we're their back-end
right
partner,
there. Okay.
and you don't have to do additional, you've already done all the due diligence on us, we meet all the security requirements, we know the industry, so your paperwork and relationship is just with Glide, and we're one of the vendors that just helps make it happen.
Very cool.
Yeah, it can really be through either. I would say, like, generally, I guess what I see is if they are on one of the, I would say maybe slightly older core systems or core processing systems, I would say relationship generally starts through Janusea, because they have a lot of fintechs that want to integrate with them, right? And rather than figuring out a way to get each fintech into the door separately, they can kind of first work with Janusea, kind of build that platform layer, and then all the fintechs can connect to them easily.
Gotcha.
So I'd say that's generally where the relationship starts. And then I would say on the flip side of things, like generally, I guess they'll start with kind of the fintech vendors, and then they'll use whatever the fintech vendor uses to connect to their cores and other systems.
Okay. Sounds like totally makes sense, guys. All right. Well, anything else to add here before I let you guys go for the rest of the afternoon? Any final thoughts, Gautam? Any final thoughts here?
Check us out on withglide.com. You can drop a time there to chat with me, and we're always love to talk to credit unions about how we can make their member experience and staff member experience a lot easier.
All in 2 minutes.
All in 2 minutes.
All in 2 minutes. Kyle, anything else?
Similar thing. Check out Janusea, janusea.com, and you can see a list of many of our partners, including
One
Glide.
of them,
and we're always happy to talk about what we can do to help directly or what we can do to help through one of our partners.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with us here in the Studio Lounge for a little bit and surprising me on this partnership that's been in existence for over a year. Are you kidding me? This is brand new. But anyway, hey, congrats anyway on the success, and I'm sure there's plenty more down the road, and look forward to having you guys back with a credit union to get their perspective too.
Absolutely.
All right, guys.
Thank you so much, Mike.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Studio Lounge interviews at Emerge, brought to you by Ajjarapu. A quick word from our sponsor, Community Financial's present CEO Tansley Stern's new podcast, Despite Impossible.